I'm Dr. Revels, and you are listening to the REVELSations podcast. We're all family and friends here, so you can call me Rev. I want to start off today's verse with a quote. It's by Albert Einstein, and it says, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." And that leads me into the topic of today's verse, the rubric. The rubric. Let's get into some dictionary definitions so we'll all be on the same page here like we like to do on the REVELSations podcast. So a rubric has a couple of dictionary definitions. The first one is an authoritative rule, especially a rule for conduct. Okay? It's like how one should act, right? How one should act. But we actually want to use the dictionary definition in education. It's going to help us out a little bit more. So a rubric in education simply means a scoring guide that teachers use to evaluate a student's work. So we want to take that ideology, a scoring guide that teachers use to evaluate student work. But we want to take the teacher and the student out. We just want to take a scoring guide to evaluate work. That's what we're going to talk about, a scoring guide to evaluate work. Coupling the definition of rubric, the educational definition of rubric, tied to Albert Einstein's quote of everybody being a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. We often find ourselves judging other people by a rubric that they cannot uphold or they cannot stand. And we end up thinking oftentimes that that person is less than what they really are. It's different if you are judging a plumber by his ability to fix pipes. If your plumber cannot fix pipes, then he probably isn't a good plumber. If your architect cannot draw proper plans to build a building, then he or she is probably not a good architect. But in life, oftentimes we are judging people by standards that they can never live up to. And if we think about it deeply, we're also judging ourselves by standards that we cannot live up to. We live in a world today where success is everything. People want to be successful. People want to be successful. And I want you to do me a favor. As you listen to this, think about what success means to you. I'm pausing for a moment so you can think about it. Think about what success means to you. Most of us, if we're being honest, we think success in monetary dollars because that has been the prevailing cultural definition of success. We can say the richest people in the world, they are successful. We would say the poorest people in the world are not necessarily successful, but that's actually not true. And if we begin to judge people by the rubric of success and the definition of success being one who makes a lot of money, then we end up glorifying some people and diminishing others, even though one is the fish and we're asking them to climb a tree. So, what does it mean to succeed? The definition of succeed is to achieve the desired aim or result. Now, I believe everybody wants to make money. Everybody's out to make money, but not everybody that is their main goal. People can be successful in things that don't necessarily bring them money, and they're still successful. They still lived a successful life. They still have accomplished great things. They're still successful. But in our world, we're so monetarily minded that we typically view success in monetary gains. So if you know someone and they are trying to do something great and they achieve it, they're actually a success story. They're actually successful. They may not get monetary gains from that. It could be something like losing weight. It could be something like getting off drugs or stop using alcohol. It could be anything, graduating from school. And sometimes it will cost them money to become successful, to achieve the desired aim or result. They want to be successful. They want to succeed, right? But it's not in the monetary way like a lot of people believe. So success is a state or condition of meeting a defined range of expectations. But whose expectations? That's when we go back to the rubric. Remember, the rubric in education is a scoring guide that teachers use to evaluate students. You notice it didn't say teachers use it to evaluate teachers. It is one group using this metric, this system of scoring to evaluate others. But the beautiful thing about success is we can define it for ourselves. We can define success for ourselves. Success is a state or condition of meeting a defined range of expectations. Well, who gets to define those? You do. You can define your own success. You can define your own success. You can be your own success story. You just have to change your mind about what success is. If success is monetary for you, then in this particular area, if you have not reached those monetary goals, if you have not met those conditions, if you have not met those benchmarks, then you are not successful in that way. It does not mean you're not successful overall. I believe we become short-sighted when we only view success in one way. Success can be in a lot of ways, and no one's going to be successful in everything they do. I imagine, I don't know this for sure, but I imagine there are some very wealthy people who do not feel successful because maybe being very wealthy wasn't necessarily their goal. It is not what they set out to do. It is not the deepest desire in their heart. And they might be feeling unsuccessful, like they did not achieve the desired aim or result. Why is that? Because they might want to be a good father and they're not. They might want to be a good mother and they're not. They might want to be a good husband or a wife or a son or a daughter and they're not. They're not these things. They have a lot of money. So from the outside looking in, teachers would judge them as successful because they're scoring it on the success range of monetary gains. But remember, success is a defined range of expectations when you meet a defined range of expectations. So, not other people's expectations. I guess you could be successful if you have an external goal, but you may have an internal goal. And you could be very successful without money if money is not that goal. We should all have, and I don't like to say should, but I'm going to say it here. We should all have internal and external goals. And if we do not reach our external goals, it does not mean we're necessarily unsuccessful. We may not be successful in that realm, but we can still be successful in our internal goals of being better people, of helping others, of growing, of becoming more educated. We can truly be successful. That success is going to come through our definition of success. But if we're trying to live out someone else's standards and someone else's rubric, oftentimes we'll end up chasing something that we don't really want. The rich person who has everything there is to buy, but they're very unhappy because they're not successful inwardly. They're not successful intrinsically within their soul. So they're going to live a life and they're going to have all the vacations and they're going to have all the cars and they're going to have all the influence and all of the things. But on the inside, they're dying, they're hurting, they're struggling because they don't feel successful. They succeeded in this thing, but the money wasn't their main goal. And in the opposite way, some of us in the world have achieved great things. We've been the first in our families to do this. We've been the first in our family to do that. We've achieved these great things, and we don't have a lot of money to show for it. But just know, just because the world is judging you as unsuccessful, or the world is telling you that if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. That is how the world sees it, but you can still be successful. Success is how you define it to you. Success is a state of your condition of meeting your defined range and expectations. Of course, we live in a world where we have to meet with others. We have to be with others. And most people in the world work a job. Most people are not entrepreneurs. And your boss is going to have an expectation for you. And you're going to have to follow their rubric. In the example, they're the teacher, you're the student. And you're going to have to hit those benchmarks in order to keep your job. You are successful in that. But oftentimes we leave work, we go home, and we feel unsuccessful because that thing that is deep down inside of us that we want to succeed at, we want to be the next greatest dancer, we want to be a great basketball player, we want to be a great brother, we want to be a great friend, we have not reached that goal. And that's where we're feeling unsuccessful. Okay? So do not let others tell you what success is to you. Of course, you're going to have to go out and meet some benchmarks. But what is true success to you. Success is how you define it. And when you are successful, you can walk around with confidence that you have accomplished meeting your goals, that you have accomplished achieving your desired aim and your result. You have been successful. So if we go back and we revisit the quote, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. But what if we begin to judge ourselves as fish and our ability to swim? The world is telling us to climb the tree, but we may not want to climb the tree. We may want to be swimmers. And if we are fish, then swim, 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 and then you will be successful. Thank you again for listening to another verse of the REVELSations podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. You can contact me directly, the REVELSations podcast. That's on Instagram and Facebook. You can also email me directly, revelationpodcast@gmail.com. I am because we are. Hallelujah, holla back. Peace.
Yeah, the revelations now televised. A platform for you and I. And now look with full heart and clear eyes. Now, these are just my thoughts. Truth on how I feel on these topics I reveal. Please know my toll, I always keep it real. Can't face the word if you can't face facts. For your time, just open up your mind. That's it, just live, think big, now take that. With God in me, this here was made by design. Yeah, the revelation will be